How does a giant alien robot end up being the most human character in the movie? Well, I finally watched Iron Giant and I need to talk about it. This movie opens to a boy named Hogarth riding his bike to the local diner, trying to convince his mom to let him have a pet squirrel, but it escapes in the restaurant, and while he's looking for it, he runs into a guy named Dean who's pretending to know about an invader from Mars.
I saw it too.
I believe you.
And that's all it takes for Hogarth to go full conspiracy mode, taking off into the woods alone at night looking for this so-called invader. And what do you know? He actually finds a giant robot while it's stumbling around and getting electrocuted because he got stuck in some power lines. But Hogarth isn't scared. He's determined to help the Iron Giant, so he turns off the power grid. Even though I'm pretty sure this powers the entire town, and whenever he turns around, the robot is unconscious, so he decides to climb on top of it. But the Iron Giant wakes up and Hogarth takes off running, bumping into his mom, and whenever his mom finds him out in the woods, of course she's freaked out.
What do you think you're doing? Don't you know better than to wander off at night alone?
And she takes him home. So she tells him to go to bed and he goes to sleep. Then the government sends Kent Mansley to figure out what destroyed the power plant, and I already don't like this guy. He's got like that sleazy energy, and while he's looking for the Iron Giant, it actually takes a bite right out of the side of his car.
Oh my god!
And honestly, that's what he gets, because now he starts taking the situation a bit more seriously. But the next day, Hogarth goes and tries to lure the robot out with some food. Well, metal in this case. But he doesn't expect it to actually work. And it doesn't work in the way he wanted it to. But he meets the Iron Giant. And it turns out the Iron Giant is actually very intelligent, but doesn't seem to have any memory of where he's from or how he got there. So we're about to get a kid teaching a robot that was basically born yesterday how not to get caught. And they waste no time because the robot already doesn't understand that he can't just follow Hogarth home, but he tries to anyway. And then this dude sees some train tracks on the way and he just goes to eat them. And of course, right after he takes a bite right out of the train tracks, here comes a train. So they panic and start trying to fix it, but they aren't fast enough and the train gets derailed. So Kent Mansley, investigating what happened, goes to Hogarth's house to use the phone. And even his own bosses don't believe him and clown on him for it.
Tell me again, Mansley, and this time, listen to yourself.
Which honestly, that's what he gets because he treats everyone the exact same way. But of course, this is the moment he realizes Hogarth was at the power station that night. So he starts asking questions. And Hogarth's mom really spills the beans, telling him how Hogarth was talking about.
And the other night he couldn't stop talking. I mean, 100-foot robots and whatnot.
Like, mom, you cannot be serious in this situation right now. The government is here investigating an alien and you're telling him that your kid was there. Like, come on, you can't really throw him under the bus like this. But after Kent Mansley leaves, Hogarth goes to his shed and starts to actually bond with the Iron Giant, even telling him that he's like Superman.
You're a good guy. Like Superman.
And now he's got to teach him how the world works before the world finds him first. And Hogarth realizes the Iron Giant is hungry, so he takes the Iron Giant to go look for some food, stumbling upon a scrapyard, calling it an all-you-can-eat buffet. And it turns out this scrapyard is actually owned by the same guy, Dean, that he met earlier at the restaurant. And Dean is a scrap artist who turns trash into treasure, which honestly comes in handy a lot more later than you would expect. But even though Hogarth tries to distract him, it doesn't take Dean long to realize there's something outside, and that's when he sees the Iron Giant. And this dude Dean freaks out, and I'm not gonna lie, this kind of cracked me up. But he calms down eventually and gives the Iron Giant an actual chance, realizing that he isn't that bad, and actually reluctantly agrees to let him stay overnight at the scrapyard. So Hogarth heads home and finds out that this dude Kent Mansley really rented the open room in their house.
Isn't it wonderful, Hogarth? We finally rented our room.
Like, at this point, he's really starting to get on my nerves. And with Hogarth stuck at the house being watched by Kent, Dean wakes up realizing the Iron Giant is still in his scrapyard. So he calls Hogarth's house and tells him he said he could stay for one night, not a full day. So he goes outside and tries to tell the Iron Giant to leave, but he realizes the Iron Giant might actually be helpful in making some of his scrap art. So Dean stops freaking out and actually starts using him to help him make new pieces. It is kind of funny because because he's using a giant alien robot as his scrap artist assistant, and I just really thought that was funny. Then we cut back to Kent absolutely hounding Hogarth with questions. Like, I knew I did not like this guy, but damn, he's really just starting to get too pushy. And yes, Hogarth puts laxatives in his ice cream.
Landslide.
And that's exactly what he gets. And because of the laxatives, Hogarth finally shakes Kent and gets back to the scrapyard, thinking they're in trouble, just to find out everything is completely fine and Dean has him making art. And somehow Hogarth actually convinces Dean to come to the lake with them later that day. And they're doing normal lake things. Even Hogarth does a cannonball. Then the Iron Giant tries to recreate it, and he damn near causes a tsunami. And I really like how they're all starting to bond into like this pseudo family or friend group. Then we see Hogarth and the Iron Giant walking through the woods, and then they come up on a deer, and it's very peaceful and they're admiring it until some hunters just shoot it dead. And the Iron Giant kind of leans in like, what just happened? And then the hunters freak out and run away when they see him. And I think this is the moment that activates his like self-defense systems, like towards guns especially, because his eyes get super small and turn red. And of course, while all this is happening, Kent finds Hogarth's camera with a picture of him and the Iron Giant on it, which is the smallest amount of proof he needed. So this guy actually goes and calls in the military. Then that same night, the Iron Giant is sleeping, and we see him have like some sort of nightmare, like he was part of some giant robot planet destroying alien race or something. And I'm sitting there like, wait, this thing that's been swimming in a lake and hanging out with a kid making art came to destroy us? And dude, can we get rid of this Kent guy already? Because when Hogarth gets home, like this dude comes out of the shadows.
You're late for dinner, Hogarth.
And he starts interrogating a little kid, eventually finding out that the Iron Giant is at Dean's scrapyard. And then he literally chloroforms him like a 10-year-old kid and tells him
This is only a bad dream.
and he literally watches Hogarth while he sleeps after nailing his window shut. Like, this guy is a literal psycho. But chloroforming a child means he's willing to do anything, and what he does next proves exactly that. And 95% of you guys aren't subscribed already, so if you're enjoying this video so far, consider dropping a sub. Because Kent doesn't stop at chloroforming a kid. He calls the full military in with picture proof of the giant, and they don't hesitate. So the military hits the scrapyard, but Dean and Hogarth pull a 5,000 IQ move by telling the Iron Giant to pretend to be one of Dean's art pieces, and they actually get away with it, for now anyway.
Sir, listen. Step outside, Mansley.
As the military leaves, and they actually fire Kent, which, yes, thank you for firing him. I've been waiting for this the whole movie. And after the military clear the area, Hogarth and the Iron Giant start messing around until Hogarth pulls out a toy laser gun.
And take this!
And accidentally activates the Iron Giant's built-in defense system, and he starts to lose control. Even though it's just a toy, his instincts are taking over. And right after this happens, Dean gets angry and tells the Iron Giant,
A big gun that walks.
and I actually really hated that he did this. Like, the Iron Giant wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He was just reacting to a perceived threat, and him saying that was pretty unnecessary to me. So the Iron Giant leaves thinking he's nothing but a weapon until he sees two kids messing around on a roof, and he actually catches them and saves them right before they're about to die. And of course the military sees him and goes straight to attacking. Like, I get he's an alien and you don't know what he is, but he's literally done nothing wrong except for maybe eat a power grid. But this actually pissed me off. So Hogarth and Dean rush to the area because Dean regrets what he said. And when they get there, Hogarth takes off with the Iron Giant, and this is when he realizes he can actually fly. And while they're flying, he actually puts his arm forward like Superman.
By pointing your arm straight ahead, like Superman!
And I'm not gonna lie, this scene was probably the closest I got to tearing up during this movie. But here comes the military again. They shoot him down, and he thinks he accidentally killed Hogarth, so he crashes out. And you know what? Good. I'm glad these people are finally getting the threat they wanted so damn bad. And this dude, Kent Mansley, even though he's fired, he is still there, and he suggests blowing him up with a nuke.
This thing, we've hit it with everything we've got.
Not everything, General. The bomb.
Like, are we serious? But Hogarth wakes up just in time and runs to the Iron Giant, even though he's in full kill mode right now. And this is another moment that almost got me. The Iron Giant realizes what he's doing is wrong and that he's not just a big weapon. So he stops and he chooses to not be that villain. And yo, we need to get rid of this Mansley guy. Like, he's been a nuisance from the very start. And even though he's fired, he's still... So after the military disengages, he grabs the radio and yells,
Launch the missile now!
causing the military to launch the missiles off. And get this, the missiles are targeted to land directly where the robots are, and that's with them. So he literally just killed everyone in the area. And I knew I hated this guy from the start, but this is just a whole new level. So with death incoming, the Iron Giant decides to handle this himself. He flies up into the sky and goes straight at the bomb, choosing to be Superman one last time. And I don't know if there's even a chance he survived, but let me be delusional because he just sacrificed himself for the people who literally caused the whole thing. And that made me genuinely mad. I'm not gonna lie. But we skip ahead and we see Hogarth and his mom and Dean are like an actual happy family now. And Hogarth gets given the one last piece of the Iron Giant that was retrieved. And wait, the beep is back. And this piece goes to try and reconnect because Iron Giant can repair himself after injuries. So that means he's alive. And I'll say this, Iron Giant is one of those movies that earns every emotional moment it has. Like the sacrifice at the end, it genuinely hit me. But I'll be honest, my one thing I wish they let breathe a little more before the final reveal that he's alive is his actual death. Give us a few more minutes sitting with Hogarth thinking he's gone, because I feel like that reveal would have hit a lot harder if they waited. But even with that, this movie is still amazing. The story is simple, the characters are in depth, and they're just great. Like, if you're like me and you haven't seen this movie till now, go watch it. And if you had watched it as a kid, give it a rewatch because I feel like you'll like it even more. And I have a question for you guys. Did Iron Giant hit you the same way it hit me? Drop a comment and let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious and keep the conversation going.